What's up, YouTube? Under Siege Reboot is coming out. Why? So this is gonna be my thoughts and topic and response to which I just heard 2 days ago. Actually yesterday I heard that Under Siege Reboot, which is actually one of my all-time favorite action movies of all time, is going to be Reboot, which is coming for HBO Max. I think I wrote down, which is actually planned to be streamed on HBO Max, So it's gonna be a reboot of Under Siege. Why? Now, I had the first movie and I love the first movie. This is an Australian cover, but I love the back. And I did a review, I did review this movie, and on my channel there's actually a video which I did a long hour talk about the film, but I know no one's gonna hold one hour, but Under Siege is one of my favorite Steven Seagal movies. It's one of his best films, and I would say it's a 90s classic action film. It's Die Hard on a battleship. Die Hard on a battleship, just like the title is written right here, And a high-tech thriller with laughs and thrills, and it's entertaining. It's a badass action film, and it's one of Die Hard clones, and definitely the best one, definitely the best one out there. And I love this movie to death. I love this movie with passion. It's been my first Steven Seagal film I saw as a kid with my mom. And if you want to know more of my thoughts, you can see that film, you can see my review. But it's a 1 hour long film. In that time I actually did with a costume cover a review on Under Siege, and I explain why it's my favorite. I talk for at least an hour, because I love this movie so much. Now, there was a release of Rocky 4, The Ultimate Cut, Rocky vs. Drago, and I kept my mouth shut. I've watched the film previously weekend. I watched the film and I saw how Sylvester Stallone grabbed my hair and ripped it on my chest and threw it on the floor and trampled on it with his foot to pieces. That's how bad, awful his director's cut to me was. He crushed my childhood, and I didn't want to say nothing, because there's people out there who like the film, who like that cut more. I will always go for theatrical release, and fuck the Ultimate Cut. It was unnecessary. It just butchered the film. That's what Sly did. So he cannot stay away from Rocky. He has to butcher the franchise more and more just to get the profit, But I kept my mouth shut. I don't want to have problems, I kept my mouth shut. I want to be left alone, that's what I did. Now, Charlize Theron, which that's an actress, she was in Mad Max Fury Road. That's the only movie that I barely remember her, and I enjoy her when she was in Ring Games with Ben Affleck and late director John Frankenheimer. And she went and dissed that film, said it's one of her least favorite, and she said so bad things about it. She only did on that film to work with the director, But that's just my favorite movie, definitely forgotten and underrated, But I think that people should have done talk about Ringer Games a lot. And it's definitely her best film for me, because she was beautiful, hot, and sexy, and I love the twist. I love that she's a bad guy in that movie. But many of the movies that she did, she just sucked, So the reason why I mentioned her, because the reboot has actually in common with the actress. Because Charlize Theron, she actually last year, I think it was 2 years ago, or was last year, I don't remember, when her movie The Old Guard came out, which I didn't watch it. I don't care about her movie. I don't care about the actress, but when her movie released, she opened her long mouth and she was talking trash about Steven Seagal, that he's overweight, that he pushes people, that's embarrassing, that he's a fat weight, She was making fun of him, and she said, "Fuck you," because he's cruel to women, and yeah, but that wasn't to me that bad. What was bad? She went and some fan boy wrote a tweet on her Twitter. "I want to see a lesbian Die Hard." So she stated an article and said, "I'm doing to have a lesbian Die Hard," and I kept my mouth shut. I kept my mouth shut. But now I'm done keeping my mouth shut, and I'm gonna speak about my favorite films, and I didn't give a fuck how many haters I get. I'm done. I'm done being quiet. A lesbian Die Hard's not gonna work. So she wants to play the role of John McClane, and she has to save a fucking wife from a group of terrorists. I'm tired with those clones. Why don't you just leave Die Hard the fuck alone? Why don't you just leave Under Siege the fuck alone? I'm done with those classic. Why every film has to be a remake? Why? Every classic film has to get a remake. Now they want to reboot with Big Trouble in Little China. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, I respect him as a wrestler, but as an actor, no. Because the only thing that I enjoy was Fast 5 and Fast and Furious Part 6 and the Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. This is the only movies I enjoy. And that movie Welcome to the Jungle or was The Runaway. That's the only good movies that I appreciate from the actor. But Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, he did a reboot or remake to Die Hard called Skyscraper. I have not seen that movie because I'm staying away from those movies. And Charlize Theron, she did Atomic Blonde. I'm not watching it. I'm not watching The Old Guard. I'm not watching her movies because I'm not a fan of her. But the movies that I enjoy, she goes and does stuff. No, thank you. I don't want nothing to do with the actress. But she wants to do a lesbian Die Hard, because some fanboy wants to see a lesbian Die Hard. Why? If you want to see a Die Hard clone, there's a bunch of good movies out there. Under Siege is one of them, and Cliffhanger. Some fanboys, because I said it's a Die Hard in a Rocky Mountain, attacked me for it. Why? It's my opinion. It's nothing bad. Speed, Die Hard on a bus. Broken Arrow, to me, Die Hard in a canyon. And also there's also direct-to-video movies, like No Contest. Probably no one heard about it. There was another sequel, but Shannon Tweed played in it in No Contest. There's also Deadly Outbreak with Jeff Speakman, which is a Die Hard type movie, and I enjoyed it. I don't know there any type. There was one movie with Don the Dragon Wilson, but I barely remember that film. One of them was Blood Twist 6, Ground Zero, but he did another movie, I think it was Terminal Rush, and I barely remember that movie. There was also with Jeff Wincott, another movie. I think it was Open Fire or something. There's a bunch of Die Hard clones in a goddamn confident space, But Charlize Theron wants to be a John McClane type, saving her wife. I'm not gonna watch that movie. No, I'm not gonna watch that movie. Fuck Likeable Lead. I'm not gonna watch that. I have nothing against women's lead, but no, I'm not gonna watch that. Now, Die Hard, Under Siege reboot, it's actually going to be with Indonesian director Timo Tianhanto, and it's gonna write it by Umar Alim. Who the fuck is gonna star in it, And as you know already, what Under Siege is about, it's actually Under Siege is actually about a group of terrorists, during a board of U.S. Missouri, the boat, they actually went and they they hijack. They actually go and they hijack, the battleship. This ship. They go and they hijack this ship, U.S. Missouri, and they take in the crew and everyone as a hostage. And their political motivations, just like in Die Hard, are actually diversions. Just like in the first Die Hard, there's actually a hijack and a heist, for those Starburst, those Tomahawks, those missiles, because they're actually stolen them, Yeah, they actually go. It's actually heist. They're stealing those missile Tomahawks, and they are actually building railway. Railways. For in which they're gonna actually move the missiles with the submarine. They're gonna actually miss. They're actually going to meet. But yeah, group, and like I said, there's only one man that wants to stop the hijack and get back the ship, and that's of course ex-Navy SEAL Chief Casey Ryback, who was also captured and closed in a freezer, and he was the one that escaped, and he uses all his martial arts and all the stuff, in it, and of course, the bad guys, is Tommy Lee Jones, who plays William Stranix, ex-CIA agent, wants revenge, while he's actually, it looks like diversion, but actually he goes and he's still in he goes and actually he's stealing, those Tomahawks to get rich. He needs money, Watch the movie closely and you'll see about it. So when I heard that, that's actually, there's gonna be a reboot, I rushed last night and rewatched this classic one more time again, because it's so badass awesome. This movie, in my opinion, deserves a 4K. It deserves it to be remastered. It wasn't, because they don't care, but now for HBO Max, it's gonna be a reboot. I wanted a third sequel. I wish that Senegal would return and he will reprise his role, and I wanted that the movie would be good, but no, it's over. He just doesn't care anymore. All he does is politics, and all he does is just being a fat fuck, with that beard and his shitty ponytail, it's just awful. He doesn't give a fuck anymore, He cares if you're gonna ask him, which is your favorite movie he did, he's gonna say On Deadly Ground, because he directed, But I wanna talk about the classic that I enjoy, directed by Andrew Davis, written by J.F. Lawton, and that's Under Siege. Great music score by Gary Chang. And I'm really wondering what kind of shitty music score is gonna be. How is it gonna Under Siege Reboot is going to work? Why? Why it's gonna be? So who's gonna play now? So it's gonna be a woman on a boat, Because in this movie there was a real boat. It was a real ship. It was. But I'm definitely they're gonna just put some imaginary ship, with CGI in it, and just not gonna work. Who's gonna star? Two women. So for Tommy Lee Jones' character is gonna be a woman, and for Seagal's character is gonna be a woman in it. And no, I don't think that Seagal will return. He barely talks about this movie, so no, it's not gonna came back as Chief Ryback. He actually wrote that his character is gonna fight aliens. Terrible idea. But this is my first. This is actually my first Die Hard film. Yes, it's not the original Die Hard. It's a Die Hard clone, but it's actually the first movie. I watched it with my mom, and I love this movie to death. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite action films of all time. And I'm not gonna watch Reboot, Under Siege. I'm not gonna watch it because it's not gonna be better. It's not going to do any better. The movie's not gonna be better. Now, I don't have nothing against remakes, because sometimes remakes are better than the original, but not always, I like the remake, The Hills Have Eyes from 2006. I love that remake. My Bloody Valentine 3D 2009. I enjoyed that reboot. I enjoyed that. Friday the 13th 2009 reboot. I enjoyed it. There's still more. I enjoy that movie. I think was House of Wax from 2005. It kind of got a terrible actually kind of get it actually kind of was pinned down, and mowed down by fans and critics of the original film, but I enjoyed it. I never saw the original, didn't care. The Blob 1998 is a reboot or remake of the 50s movie with Steve McQueen, but I enjoyed it, the Blob 1998. I enjoyed The Thing, which is another remake or reboot from back from whatever, 40s, 50s. But yes, there's some of the remakes that I enjoy. And there's also some of the reboots I hated, like RoboCop. I hated the reboot. I hated RoboCop reboot, Ghostbusters 2016. I hated reboot. There are so many reboots that I hated, remakes and reboots that I hated, And now they're gonna do a reboot for HBO Max, Under Siege, title Under Siege. What the fuck is gonna be the title, So there's gonna be a woman on a fucking imaginary boat. There's gonna be Tommy just Scarlett Turpin, another woman, and they're just gonna go and they're gonna try to hijack a ship, and there's gonna be a bunch of loonies, on it. What I'm saying, Under Siege reboot is unnecessary. It's pointless. Stop remaking the classics. Oh, so now Big Travel to China with Dwayne Johnson is gonna be another reboot. Just stop remaking. It's unnecessary. And also Rocky IV, the Ultimate Cut was unnecessary cut. Stallone butchered that cut in my opinion. But people disagree. Oh, I enjoyed it. Good for you. I don't. Because I grew up with the original, which was a badass. This was a lame, pointless, stupid drama he did. He butchered it, and he doesn't even aware that. I'm tired of being a good movies that we fans grew up, and watched them, There has to be a remake. It has to be a butchered. Why? Or it has to be a sequel. They did a sequel to Hard Target, Now they want to do another reboot, another Die Hard reboot, with what? With Charlize Theron being a lesbian Die Hard. I don't want to see that. Many fans doesn't want to see it because Die Hard became one of the best, the greatest movies that's even talked today. Over 30 years, people are still talking because it's a Christmas movie. Everyone talks about it, But now they're gonna go and they actually going to reboot this film. Why? Instead of rebooting this film, why don't you do 4K with special features or more remastered version would be better, this film, instead making a reboot. But no, I know that Hollywood's not gonna listen to a little man like me, but that's just stupid, The first Under Siege made, the budget was $35 million. It made worldwide $156 million. It earned 2 Oscars, which is the only Seagal movie that earned Oscars, and definitely one of the best films, because Steven Seagal did not only that he did, but he actually showed his acting ability, and I really enjoy his performance. And yes, Andrew Davis got the role for the Fugitive with Harrison Ford, which it actually worked, and it was a huge blockbuster hit. And Harrison Ford saw this movie. That's the reason he took the role for The Fugitive. The Fugitive was a huge hit. It was a blockbuster, was a huge hit. Definitely one of Andrew Davis' best films. And Andrew Davis and Steven Seagal, Steven Seagal was more for 40 minutes. That didn't bother because the movie was awesome. The movie was fantastic. It's a badass action film. And I did a lot of reviews. A lot of old school 80s, 90s action films, even from 70s I talk about. And I titled it Under Siege is my favorite Steven Seagal film, one of my favorite action movies. No, actually my favorite movie of all time. But Under Siege Reboot is unnecessary. I'm just not gonna watch it. It's just pointless. It's just stupid once again. They're just gonna butcher again the movie. It just doesn't work. I mean, what the fuck Hollywood is doing now? What the fuck are doing? That Rocky 4 was really unnecessary to be remade a director's cut. Maybe Stallone should just do a reboot of Rocky 4 now, since he butchered it. A lesbian diehard is not needed. Under Siege reboot is not needed. Those original classics are not needed. There's no need. So what they're gonna do next? They're gonna reboot a Dirty Harry. Thank God, Dirty Harry movies never got a reboot. That Wish got actually a reboot. I like the Bruce Willis movie That Wish, but if I watch Bruce Willis movies, I watch right there. Die Hard with a Vengeance. I watch that movie. If I wanna watch Bruce Willis movie, I watch the first Die Hard, Die Hard 2, The Last Boy Scout, Sin City. I enjoy The Fifth Element. There are other movies that I enjoy from Striking Distance, underrated, but I enjoyed it. From Bruce Willis. Those movies are actually gonna watch then his Death Wish film. Thank God. Sylvester Stallone wants to do a Cobra series. He wants to do Demolition Man 2. Why can't this stupid actor just leave the classics that he did alone? For us fans. And the same is with these people. For HBO Max. Why can't you just leave the classic alone? Stay the fuck away from Under Siege. Leave the Under Siege alone. There's no need to see this movie to be rebooted. There's no need a reboot. There's a necessary pointless reboot. It's just only gonna, they're only gonna do it for the money and for the profit. We don't need that, It's just not needed, I think it's just pointless, Under Siege is not needed. Lesbian Die Hard is not needed. Big Travel to China remake is not needed. Jumanji, I don't know what was a sequel remake, it doesn't need it. It's stupid, It just doesn't need it. Another Batman reboot is not needed. We're gonna get another Batman, another reboot with Robert Pattinson. It's not needed. The next Batman reboot is gonna suck. It's gonna be garbage. It's gonna be piece of garbage. And I think Under Siege is gonna be nothing but a piece of shit reboot. It just doesn't need it. RoboCop was not needed. It was just not needed. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was not needed. It was just not needed to reboot the film. It sucked. I hated the first reboot. The second one, Out of Shadows, I liked, but it sucked. It was not needed. Sometimes directors doesn't know what the fuck are doing with these cuts and with these reboots. And Under Siege does not need it to be reboot. Who's gonna be for Erika Liniak? Probably a man is gonna be. So there's gonna be a woman on the ship and there's gonna be a man, a sidekick. The rest of the crew, the sidekicks for Seagal, Carter is actually going to be a woman and one man. They're gonna ruin, they're gonna fuck up and they're going to butcher this film. They're gonna give this movie a big fuck you. That's what they're gonna do, What's gonna do reboot next? Predator. Predator's gonna get a new reboot. A Batman's gonna get a second reboot now. Next time they're gonna reboot James Bond franchise. They actually wanted to do a remake with Ronda Rousey in Roadhouse, Thank God it never happened. We got a shitty sequel to Roadhouse 2, barely watched it, but thank God it wasn't a remake. And I think they remade Dirty Dancing. I'm not sure because I don't watch that movie that much. If I watch what Patrick says, I watch Roadhouse. They also, I think they rebooted that movie or remake that movie. That movie that Patrick Swayze was in it for 1984, Red Dawn. I think it was a remake or reboot. I barely even watch it. Because sometimes reboots and remake are just unnecessary. It's barely watching it. And why? Why butcher on this one? Why? They're gonna butcher it, This new director and writer's gonna butcher it Under Siege. They're gonna give us big fuck you. That's what they're gonna do. Timothy Hanto, and Umar Alim, I never heard of those people. I don't care about Indonesian people, But they're gonna butcher it Under Siege. Why? It's just unnecessary and just pointless. And stay away from Under Siege because that's a necessary reboot. It's unnecessary, But yeah, that's my thoughts on Under Siege reboot. Why? It's unnecessary, Anyway, stay tuned and I'll see you soon on the next review and take care and I'm out. Peace.